Newsfirst.lk.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. Budget, budget and more budget. But really, does it make a difference? But in between all this, there's this other question. Sri Lanka, crossovers. Does that add to political instability? Let's find out, shall we? Our guest this evening is Member of Parliament, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. No stranger to our program, of course. Very good evening to you, Mr. Weerakkody, and thank you for coming.
Good evening for us. Thank you for the invite.
Now then, can you tell us why or what it is that you've done? There's some reports to say that you kind of crossed over. What is it exactly?
No, we are in the process of forming an alliance, which is a broader alliance where our members of parliament and outsiders who are keen to take this country forward to get together on policy basis. Now, if you take the present parliament and the president and the government, president is a person who believed in a different policy.
Yeah.
And the government was elected to perform based on certain other policy. So there is obviously a clash. What the country needs is a difficult, of course, task, but the country needs a set of policies that could be useful to sail this country out of this trouble period and develop it. So for that, like-minded people who have represented various parties in the history should get together. So we are in the process of forming that alliance.
Who's we?
Like various members of parliament.
No, they gave some names the other day.
Yeah.
Yours was there, Honorable Darshanayapa was there.
Yeah, myself, Honorable Darshanayapa were two such members.
Yeah.
And Jarat Neherat was also there.
Yes, and there's one.
So likewise, I mean, it is like I can talk on my behalf.
Yeah. So what have you done? You've not left, but you're within the SLFP.
No, I became independent just at the beginning of this parliament.
Right.
I didn't agree with the policies and the way in which Gotabaya Rajapaksa was handling the country.
Right.
So from day one, initially I've been trying to correct him, giving my way of thinking, but he never was ready to listen. But I've been vociferously critical about what the government was doing.
Okay.
But and thereafter, certain other members also joined the same line of thinking. And then the president has to leave the country. Then present president, who was out of parliament at that time, came to parliament, became the prime minister, and he became the president. So now it's the present parliament itself is a disfiguration of.
It's a symbol, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not what the people at the time of elections expected to be.
Okay, so where does this mean that the people are unhappy with, say, the Porter or the SLFP and so on, but are they all going to join the SJB? Or is the SJB going to be part of this alliance?
No, definitely all these parties that are ready to follow right policies will become partners of this alliance. I mean, that is the need of the hour. And it doesn't mean now, as of now, there is a government that's running the country. Whatever good that they are trying to do to the country will not be obstructed and objected to by any one of us. We are, whatever good that they can do, we will support. But at the same time, it should be only for a short period, because this is a government, this is a president who has not been elected by the people. So, you have to have a government that the people of the country have elected to perform what people believe in at the time of elections. So, and especially since we are now at a very difficult wicket, our country, I mean, I don't have to explain it if anyone understands, we have not faced a crisis of this magnitude in our history. So we have to be able to formulate policy to take the country off such position.
Mr. Weerakkody, what is it? What's the common factor? What's the common denominator?
Well, common denominator, I mean, we have to first of all have a clear economic policy, which, I mean, it may not be a policy that's very popular for many people.
But that's certainly not popular now.
Yeah, definitely we will have to take very difficult decisions. And then we'll have to have a very clear, transparent foreign policy, where we can become friends of all the countries, winning their confidence, which we have failed at the moment also. And then we have to have a policy social policy. We have to be able to run this country without promoting racism. We must be able to get together irrespective of race, religion, caste, whatever, and we must be able to get together. And then it has to be a government that is transparent, where corruption under any circumstances is not tolerated. These basic points will have to be elaborated and agreed upon.
Okay.
And then we have to have a proper policy for education, investment promotion, health policy has to be very clear, and then the policy on agriculture, and then the policy on tourism and so on will have to be very clearly set out and agreed upon by the group of people who will come together to run the government.
Right. Now then, I want to ask you this. You said foreign policy.
Yeah.
The international community is actually, they are collectively aghast. And now, at the last UN, they've also brought in economic crimes. Right? Then, economic policy. I believe that the economic policy is non-existent. For example, the president refers to the per capita GDP as being $3,800. That's sorry, but there's a slight mismatch. Some weeks ago, they went before the international agencies and said that we need to attract some funds, and which was not available to the status that we were in. So they confirmed that we were below $3,000. So we were able to get those funds. So today, the president, by today, he says that it's $3,800. So which is it? Is it 3,000? Did Sri Lanka collectively be economical with the truth? Or what is it?
No, we are known in the international arena, as I know, as masters of hoodwink. So, as a result of that,
the great fudge.
As a result of that, no country would believe us. I mean, we can always, if you are genuine, if you are genuine, if they feel that we are genuine, we have a genuine grievance. Now we are a country that has collapsed. If we can genuinely explain as to why we want this facility, and if the country is convinced that we are not creating a story to deceive them or to like tell them something and do something so that they will that country will lose something against their competitor, they will certainly help us. But the way in which we have handled ourselves, no country at the moment wants to believe this group of people.
But you know, you then said inclusive of all. So we had the former president who, on election, declared that he had been elected only by a certain group of people, the majority people. So he forgot all the others. And then hurriedly, but he meant to say it. There's no point us trying to beat around the bush. He did mean to say what he did. And so he said, we don't know what happened. Transparency, no corruption. What is
that
this?
Particular president,
Yeah.
okay, he referred openly the fact that he was elected by predominantly Sinhalese Buddhist.
Well, I mean, as a member of a minority community,
yeah.
I find that terribly racist.
No, that is not the statement that he should have made as the president of this country. And the issue is, he expects us, being Sinhalese Buddhists, to keep away from the other communities, to consider us as different. But at the same time, when he is into business, when he is into benefit, giving benefit, then he can do such with Muslim business tycoons, which is not right. I mean, at the grassroots level, you're promoting disharmony, racial disharmony.
I wondered whether those reports must be right. But when he had to leave the Maldives, the flight that he took was, I believe, I'm told, that it was a Saudi Arabian Airlines. The last I looked, Saudi Arabian Airlines is owned by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where over 95% of the people are of one particular faith. Leave that as it may. Education, investment promotion, health, agriculture, tourism policies. But Mr. Weerakkody, education and health have less money than the defense budget. Why on earth does Sri Lanka have to spend 247,000 people, apparently are the strength of our army or of our military? What on earth is going on?
Well, that is now the president's speech, had you listened to. The highest most allocation is for defense. But there is hardly any explanation as to how that money will be spent, as to for what that money has been allocated. But the crime as of now is, health sector has huge challenges. I know personally, both CT scanners in Karapitiya Hospital, where in the district where I represent, are out of order. And the operating theatres, usually they have to have central air conditioning.
Indeed.
Not only that they don't have the central air conditioner are not functioning. Some of the theatres function not even with AC. They're just functioning with a fan on. I mean, can you understand the plight of a future patient who comes to Karapitiya? Karapitiya is not only to cater Galle district. It caters to
and it's run pretty well. I've been there. I've seen it work.
And the lack of availability of medicine. Initially, the medicine that was used for very specific things were not available. As of now, even the OPD medicine is not available.
How's the cancer, the palliative care ward doing?
Even there, you don't, I mean, this is what a patient told me. When the patients, a couple of weeks back, the doctors have said that the buildings will be there. Sometimes the doctors and the nurses will be there, and in a few weeks, don't know who will be able to survive in this, due to the fact that they don't have enough medicine. And the patients started crying. I mean, can that
I'm deeply sad to hear
that. Can that be tolerated?
We're very sad to hear that, because the Karapitiya Palliative Care Centre took care of Mother Lajaya Sekra, and at that time it was functioning very well.
and the doctors, look at the plight of the doctors, or junior doctor gets about 150,000 salary. When there is a tax imposed on it, they find it difficult to even run their vehicle. I mean, doctors' job is not a 8-hour job. It's not. They don't have fixed office hours. They have to like travel in the night in case of an emergency. So as a result of that, brain drain has started. Now, as of now, as I understand, 470 doctors have left the country.
Oh,
so,
goodness me.
We have to, these are the things that we have to give immediate attention to.
Let's come back to this very important point after this short break, in which we take a quick peek at this evening's headline news from that wonderful News First primetime news team. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Anka eke arakshita itigini petti. Surya gini petti.
Activists protest opposite TID against repression. Cops say no to loudspeakers. Request made from diplomatic missions to intervene to abolish the PTA.
We are here to hand over this note. Hi.
Hirnika Premachandra and 14 others released on bail. Opposition groups unite in call for local government polls. SJB tells Parliament that general elections can also be held at the same cost. Harsha slams budget, says no plans for economic recovery. Sri Lankan women trafficked to Oman. Drunk driver kills father and daughter in Mirigama.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Anka eke arakshita itigini petti. Surya gini petti.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
Welcome back to Newsline Live on TV1. My guest this evening is Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, Member of Parliament. Mr. Weerakkody, what do you make of the budget this time?
Well, it's a very impressive storyteller.
Oh.
The policy,
Okay.
the story when you listen to,
Yeah.
well, everyone is impressed.
Right.
But at the same time, when you go into certain things, now we were expecting. Now, if you look at the government income, by this budget, government expects to increase it by 68%. 68%.
But increase revenue.
Revenue.
From where?
68% from 2,000 to 3,400. Whereas the highest ever increase in the world has been only 23%.
So is it a bit like that other suspicious thing, the fertilizer business?
No, we thought, now last budget, the former finance minister Basil Rajapaksa, he emphasized the fact that action will be taken to recover 8.5 billion money that is due to the government through bond scam. But no action has been taken. I don't know whether that, and there is no reference to recovery of that.
Whether it has been recovered or
whether it has been recovered, or there is no mention about that 8.5 billion.
He did also say that it's without disturbing the ongoing legal cases. That's what he said.
Yeah. So there is no mention about it. But it's like, I mean, my issue is whether we can go for such targets. And then there is no relief. Now agriculture sector is really in disarray.
Yeah.
At the same time, a ton of fertilizer, paddy fertilizer, is 200,000 rupees.
A ton.
And
yeah.
a ton of any other fertilizer is 360,000 rupees per ton. So the issue is as to whether the farmers and planters are in a position to afford it. And also, now the medium scale business people and the professionals and the public servants, they have obtained housing loans, business loans and various loans based on their income. Now most of them have obtained loans to pay at an interest of 7 to 8%. But as of now, it has reached closer to 30%.
Yeah.
So, and as a result of that, the installments have got
several times more.
Several times, even 3 or more times more. So, as a result of that, people are really suffering. There is no relief granted to any one of them. As to how people are going to survive is not an issue. It has not been looked into.
So how can the government reduce food prices?
There is no way that they can do it.
And they need to have some form of subsidies
and
for the
also
farmers.
they talk about SOEs. Now we know, now take SLT. SLT is a company that's doing really well. It's run by Gotabaya Rajapaksa's best friend, Rohan Fernando.
Okay.
But according to him and according to the reports, it's a profit-generating company.
Yeah.
But that's one of the enterprise that the government is planning to sell off, as we understand. Why is it that we have to sell it? Anyway, it's a private-public partnership already. It's generating profits. There is no further restructuring, as we know, that is required for that. Of course, and Lanka hospitals has not been mentioned. So I don't know on what basis and what criteria this SOE restructuring has been decided.
Would you agree that the best thing for the government to do is to sell off all the loss-making state-owned enterprises?
Well, it's like this. You can't abruptly decide as to what should be done. You must evaluate. That is the whole problem now. President believes in one policy.
Yeah, one ideology.
Yeah, and the Pohotua, the ruling party, believes in some other ideology. There is a clash. I mean, that is why you need a fresh mandate for the country with a party that can give a practical solution. I mean, indeed, you have to certainly go in for restructuring SOEs. You have to go in for private-public partnerships. There are such decisions that the government will have to take, but you have to do that subsequent to a study, an understanding. What was preached before elections is not being done. So what I mean, they have done their homework to run the country in some other way. Suddenly you take a U-turn, and when there can be an accident. So that is a mistake.
There have been several accidents thanks to the fertilizer business.
That's what's happening. I mean, that is what happened to Gotabaya Rajapaksa also. He took over on some on a different undertaking, on a different promise. When he when he was compelled to switch over to some other way of running the country, everything clashed.
But isn't it amazing, in amazing Sri Lanka, Chandima Weerakkody, that several matters, the Easter bombing, for example, was a huge impact on our country. It, for a while, crashed our tourism industry. Nothing really has happened about that investigation. The inquiry and the court cases on the matter connected with the bond it is, you know, it would be fair to all those people accused of in that if there is no evidence, then they need to cancel it out, and they need to take a firm decision. But they know even that is laid out in abeyance. And when we are having a shortage of dollars, we don't see any formal dollar earning strategy.
Yeah, now as I understand, the best, easiest and the quickest and the shortest ways to earn foreign exchange is by promoting tourism.
Yeah.
And then by promoting export agriculture.
But now the exporters are being asked to pay 30%.
30%.
What kind of a perverse joke is that?
Now, as a result, some are given preferential treatment. The ordinary person who has come the hard way is compelled to pay 30%. Then what will happen? At the same time, we have Singapore-Sri Lanka trade agreement. Most of the officers will move to Singapore to start the operations, and some of them will take the investment out of the country to places like Bangladesh, Kenya, and so on. So what are we going? What will happen to our investments?
But
and
there
at the
doesn't
same
seem
time,
to be a focus. Where is
tourism.
the focus on tourism? Where is it?
Yeah, tourism now. When you watch TV, they say there are rivals. But I know I represent
42,000 in October this year, but in before the pandemic, it was 153,000.
42,000, they must find out
how many
as to how many of them are of Sri Lankan origin.
Yeah.
Most of the people.
Yes, the VFR lot, the visiting friends and relatives.
Absolutely. Now, other than the Russians and the few Ukrainians who come to Sri Lanka, numbers, as I understand, of other nationals is very less.
So the bona fide, the real tourists.
Yeah. So, and those, most of them are also budget type of travelers.
Yeah.
So we have to have electricity. We have to have continuous supply of fuel.
Yeah.
We have to be able to give the message that there is medicine. Who on earth will want to come to a country where there is a scarcity of medicine? I mean, when we want to travel out to some country, those days before we went to places in Africa, we were really concerned about the availability of medicine.
Makes out that there is.
So when
that's a
people
very
know
good
that
point.
There are protests going on, and the protesters are being charged under Prevention of Terrorism Act.
Yeah.
The message that the tourist prospective traveller gets is, these are terrorists, because this was a country where there was terrorism. I mean,
I need to really push this question in very quickly. Was in this budget, and you were there, so was there any reference to the recovery of the losses or assets incurred or accrued due to corrupt deals done by various people?
No, at the beginning itself, in his speech, the President said the priority is not to to try them.
Right.
And to look into such matters, but to look into a broader picture to bring up the economy. But to first thing in a country to develop and improve economy is that the country should be a transparent country where corruption is not tolerated. I mean, if our attitude at the outset itself is to say, look here, these corruption matters are not my concern, not our concern, whatever said.
That's absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, for your comments. And of course, getting rid of corruption must be the #1 priority, along with the dollar earning strategy. But that's all we have for Newsline Live this evening. It's now time for the primetime news. Thank you, take care, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much for